gals, never hear from Drake Wing Gaming, and stuff you on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Kingsguard, Koshiro's Path. So y'all, let's go ahead and jump back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go! The silvered wolf nodded, then looked over at Jin. He took a last look at the pair and questioned what they were going to talk about, and was escorted out. Oh, interesting. Cool placeholder art. The moment you were guided outside, Jin placed his entire body in front of the door and remained still. He crossed his arms, kept his head up as he guarded the door. He seemed to be the only individual in the entire village who wasn't left gawking when you entered the room. Rather, he chose to see you as someone who simply was here all along. Or perhaps he was just choosing to ignore you. A minute of silence passed, and still the wolf remained still as a statue. You could have at least recognized your existence with the turn of an eye, but no. It seemed as though it was up to you to strike up some kind of a conversation, at the very least to pass the time. Thanks for last night. You know, for helping me with Yusuke. If you weren't there, I don't know what he would have done to me. The wolf's silence spoke volumes, and you couldn't help but feel irritated. Never before had you been ignored like this. Next time, learn to defend yourself. You have a blade. Learn how to use it next time. Even a child could take down that Yatsu with an arm and an eye missing. You didn't expect the first words out of his mouth to sound so rude, but it certainly was something. Sorry, I'm still learning how to fight properly, so I'm not that well trained, but I'm learning. Then you shouldn't be carrying around a weapon. You only get yourself into trouble. A true warrior knows the extent of their abilities and doesn't flaunt their lack of power. A blood vessel burst at the side of your head. If he was going to be this blunt, you think you would have just preferred the silence. I'm not carrying this around to flaunt anything. This is a precious gift from loved ones, and I refuse to part with it. Not that you reliably could anyway, after the incident at the temple. So you have to rely on others for your own protection. Typical of humans. What's that supposed to mean? In our village, only the strong are fit to rule. Take our elder. He is several decades older than many in this village, yet none of us could stand a chance to defeat him, even past his prime. He has might and wit. Both are necessary to lead our village to victory. Yet you seem to be missing both. Why our elder felt it best to use our resources to protect you, I do not see. To have to risk our lives, protect a weak human like yourself. You have no right to be king. You're better off staying than playing with sticks and pretending to fight yokai. Just because I don't possess the same natural strength or speed of you beastmen, nor the claws or fangs either, doesn't mean I'm weak. If I need be, I can protect myself, and I will use any means necessary. Even relying on that guy, Jin. Jin spit to the side at that. That's the worst part of it all. You gritted your teeth and stamped your foot. That guy Jin has a name, and it's Koshiro. A name is for someone who should be remembered. He's not deserving of one. Whether you want to recognize it or not, he's done plenty for this village to deserve that name. I'm thankful that you helped me, but call Koshiro that again, and I'll show you that I'm more than capable of defending myself and those I care about. You lost all integrity when Yusuke got the best of you. Seeing how Yusuke managed to beat you as well, I think I may have a chance. Good shit. His sneer was apparent even under his mask, and his eyes burned with rage. The wolf may have aggravated you, but you had more than managed to crawl under his skin as well. He was just as bad as Yusuke. Okay, maybe not as bad, but he definitely wasn't someone you should invite to a party. As his claws reached for his blade, you made way for your own, completely forgetting about the shaman's warning. What did you just say? Jin was quickly interrupted by Koshiro and Seshiro stepping out from behind him. You're a bit thankful, though. You likely were about to have your blood spilled on his blade if this had escalated any further. I apologize for taking so long, Your Majesty. Koshiro glanced at you and your hand upon your blade. Before he could say anything, you composed yourself and pretended like you were simply resting your hand on it. That's alright, I was just having a bit of a chat with Jin here. I see. I hope I wasn't interrupting anything important, Jin. It seemed as though Jin didn't get the memo, as his hands were still tightly gripping his weapon. It also didn't help that his fur was so riled up and he had a scowl pointed right at you. No. Once again, the brown wolf obeyed the elder without need of any instruction. His hands fell away from his blade, and the fur that was standing straight up all over his body started to settle. Well then, Koshiro, you are free for the remainder of the day. Spend as much time as you desire with Jake. You didn't really get a good look at Koshiro because he was behind the elder, but now that he had stepped forth, you could tell that something didn't seem quite right with him. Koshiro? Yes, as you demand. This is not a demand, Koshiro, it is a request. Last you were in the room with Seshiro, he was so attentive to Seshiro, but now he seemed to be in a daze. I expect great things for you, Koshiro. Do not disappoint me. Koshiro balled his fists for a quick second, then finally bowed. Yes, Elder. Koshiro was getting riled up again. It had only been a few times since you had seen him this way, but you could tell that something was wrong. Whatever they had talked likely didn't end with good news. Seshiro ignored Koshiro in his clear act of disdain and turned to you with a quick bow. Well then, Jake, I do hope you have a good evening. Seshiro beckoned Jin back inside and closed the door, leaving the two of you stranded outside. Hey, Koshiro? He tugged on his clothes, hoping to get some kind of reaction. He nearly jumped out of his clothes, but calmed himself when he saw it was only you. What happened in there? It was nothing. Well, I'm still concerned, but if you say so, I suppose I'll just drop it for now. Home. Huh? It's getting late and we should get back home so I can make dinner. But I'm not... Koshiro suddenly rushed up to you and his voice became more direct. The speed at which he moved caused the wind to whip through your hair. Never had you seen him move so fast before your very eyes. Water time. Guys and gals, and we are back. Let's go ahead and jump back into it, shall we? Okay. Are you not tired? The way he asked that, it wasn't a question. What are you? Then we should head home. Now. His eyes were cold as ice. No, even colder than that. That stare could have frozen the sun and brought a decade of winter. You didn't even realize when he was gripping down onto your arm until he squeezed it even harder when he tried to speak up. He simply nodded and Koshiro moved on ahead, taking such wide strides that he had to run to keep up or risk being dragged. He was hiding something. Something he wanted to tell you dearly, but away from prying ears. But at the rate he was going, anyone could tell that something was very wrong. Rather than fighting him, though, you went along. He was the only person you could really trust here, and you felt it deep in your heart that you were about to discover why. Koshiro was nearly dragging you at this point, as your feet began to ache from the long trek back to his place. He was in such a hurry though, and the nervous glances he made at the slightest of sounds told you that you needed to match his pace. Despite how quickly he was moving, his feet never made a sound, while you were stomping around like a rhino on a rampage. Everything spooked him, though. The wind howling, the owl calling, the shaking of the trees and the bushes, and you were paying for it. He gripped down hard onto your arm every single time and you feared that he was going to break it. This nervousness was abnormal, similar to what you saw in him last night at the hot spring. Were you being tailed? Silently you tried to speak up and say something, but he ignored you and trekked onwards at a fast speed. The sun had already gone down and you couldn't see very well in front of you. One stumble later and Koshiro was nearly pulled down with you. Jake, what are you doing? He looked down at you and you became fearful of his tone and the look in his eyes. I'm sorry, I can't see and you're moving so fast and... As he pulled you back up, you couldn't even finish your sentence for fear of biting your tongue. I'll try and slow down, but please hurry. His voice became low and much softer. As he turned back around and continued onward, he wrapped one arm around your waist that kept the two of you at the same speed. The moment you stepped inside, Koshiro ushered you into his bedroom. He took a last look outside, his nose twitching, ears swiveling side to side, and his pupils dilating. Once he was satisfied, he brought his head in and locked the door before joining you in the bedroom. But his anxiety didn't end there. The ragged-looking curtains in the windows swayed, caught his attention, and he took one last look outside before he closed that too, trapping you in darkness. A moment later, a flame lit in the corner of the room. Though it was still dark, you could make do with this, though with Koshiro's mask on, you nearly pissed yourself as he moved around the room to light some more candles. With everything lit, he made one last stop by the beds in the center of the room. Carrying them aside, he pulled up with the floorboard, revealing a deep hole big enough for his child to fit inside. He pulled out and retrieved a shabby and heavy-looking bag that jingled full of objects as he set it on the floor. What the hell's going on? Go put on your other clothes. He didn't even bother to look at you as he started to rummage through the sack. Once he pulled different trinkets, foodstuffs, and clothing. The familiar clang of metal weapons joined the pile as well, more than enough that anyone would ever even need. There were sharp star-looking objects, others that looked like throwing daggers, needles, and metallic tacks. If it weren't for the weapons, it would have simply looked like a traveler's bag, but you could see why he would need such things given the life he lived. When he had thoroughly counted all of them, he stuffed everything back inside and turned to you. Well? His voice was hushed but forceful and nearly caused you to jump out of your clothes this time. Sorry. He had an apologetic look in his eyes, but he kept silent as he left you and moved to the other room. More light poured into the room from the light crack in the door that Koshiro had left from. A bit of heat warmed its way in, and as you took a peek, you saw that Koshiro had just lit the sunken hearth. It should be hearth. His eyes met yours, though, and he scurried away from the door to obey his command. You put it back on your regular clothes and suddenly felt much warmer. If there was one thing that you were going to miss about wearing those was the breathability of the fabric. Jake, are you ready for dinner? Koshiro's voice rang through the house, a little louder than normal. You sniffed the air, but you couldn't really smell anything. Was he really making dinner? You decided to just go along with him anyway, still unsure why he was acting so strange. Yeah. Then come and join. It's almost done. Once you entered the main room, you found him sitting near the pot, the fire burning beneath it, but there was nothing cooking inside. His eyes glistened in the heat, and he stared at you with his mask on, despite still being in his own home. Carefully, he sat down by the hearth, and Koshiro motioned for you to move closer with a single finger. You gulped, unsure of what he was doing, but still obeyed, crawling over to him. Koshiro, what is... The fox brought a finger up to his mask, and you dropped your voice down. Koshiro, what is going on? He spoke in a hushed voice, so quiet you could barely hear it of the crackling fire, and his words muffled behind the mask. I've come to a fork in the road. A time where just once in my life I've begun to question myself. Doubt what I have done with my life and what I truly desire. For as long as I can remember, I have remained loyal and obedient, never questioning my superiors or their orders. There are many things that I am not proud of doing, both from your father and from those in charge in the village, but I cannot just blindly obey them any longer. Perhaps I am flawed, unable to keep promises, unable to do my duty. The thought of losing your father under my watch still sickens me to my core, and I have no right to defect, but I just can't deny this feeling any longer. What they have asked of me, you should not be involved in any of this. Despite it all, I'm doing the same as them, my own selfish desires thrusting you into danger. Yet why do I feel that it is right? This idea of following your heart, it may truly lead to my end, but I can't ignore it. Is it right for me to act on my emotions? Is it right for me to act against my superiors? This might just be a phase of adolescence. Tomorrow I could be back to being complacent and loyal above all morals. But right now... He had absolutely no idea what he was talking about as he went from silence to a rambling mess. Whatever was going on, you trusted him. There was no one else you could. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!